Well, speaking of building from experience, which you have a lot of, I know that you oversaw the development of Chime's physical security program. So, what were your goals for the program and what was the development process like?
My goals were obviously like meeting all the main stakeholders. It was a small company. They didn't have some of the tools and operational ideas of physical security embedded already. And that's what I came in for, to meet with all the exec leaders, to let them know, like, have a discussion around, hey, these are the things I'd like to do. This is why I'm here. This is why you brought me here. And I really need your input of what you think, how, we should get the chimers, we call them, which are employees, to get their buy-in. What do we need to do? Because, I don't want them to think like I'm that, physical security presence that's never going to let them get to work because they don't have a badge, or, they don't have access into the office.
So, you can't just come in and act like you have a mandate. You have to really sit down and understand what the culture is like and then insert your ideas gently, with maybe a little bit of force, but gently to make sure people will accept them.
100%. And culturally, like, every company has a different culture. And if you don't know the culture, if you're not talking to people, talking to exec leaders, or what that culture is about, because it's already created, that they already have at a higher level, then, you're not going to get buy-in, because most employees are going to look at you and say, like, well, why do I have to do this? Is this a policy? Am I supposed to do this? If I don't do it, what's going to happen to me? And, I've learned those lessons. And so now I don't get those questions because I'm ahead of the game, and I kind of know what steps to take.
Well, now that you've grown several programs, how do you and your team go about evaluating the effectiveness of the program? How do you iterate and make things better?
Yeah, I think you're always having to assess your program, always do an assessment. And some people say, like, well, how often do you do it? Well, it's how often you want to do it. I don't feel like there's a right or wrong answer. If you want to do it monthly, do it monthly. It might be a lot, but that's okay. I mean, some people just like that. I do mine probably every 6 months. So halfway through the year, I'll do it and just be like, hey, what kind of new technologies are out there? What do we need to do? Like, do we have any challenges or gaps that we need to kind of like close, things that'll help us in our operations? And then let's start implementing it if it's going to help us. Is it a cost savings, right? Every company is always about sometimes cost savings. And especially in physical security, it's hard to get budget. It's hard to, get that financial backing. But as long as you can justify the reason for it and have a good reason, you can't just say, hey, we need this. And I realized that, especially with mass communications, because for me, it was, you need this. Everybody needs it, not just physical security. If something goes down IT related, I know we have, other internal communications and comms that we use, but not everybody sees that. With mass communications, it goes to their phones. They see it on an email and a text. And so, when you implement those kind of things, I think it's helpful, and people feel like they're being taken care of, and they have that advanced notice of things.
What other advice do you have for security leaders that are in the process of building and scaling programs to match the growing needs of their organizations?
I think the most important is just keeping up with all the trends of things that are going on. Like, I'm, again, part of a lot of physical security groups that I don't even want to name off, because most of them are acronyms that I probably couldn't even remember. But, obviously, to get that kind of help and find out what people are doing, whether it be at a large 18,000 plus person company or the Chime company that's, 15 to 1,800 employees, it's all the same. That's what I just try to tell people. And so, use your technology, benchmark, talk to folks, and measure your performance. And that could be by engaging with employees, engaging with leadership, asking if, hey, is this working? Is this something you think we should continue to do? Because I feel like that's important. And then when you audit it and, you get all your metrics from it, and know that you're, going by your KPIs, and everyone's pleased with it, then you've been a success. And I'm not saying like I've always been a success. I just kind of know like the process. And even now I still get some kind of roadblockers, right? Because it's always about questioning, is this something that's useful? And when you explain it, people understand it. And that's where you have to be when you're starting a program. Just make sure, you stand your ground, you know like what you're talking about, because that's the most important.